Let me pull it up then. All I want for Christmas is you.
I was going to plug in my work lyrics for when that song plays at work. I was going to say is booze, but...
Oh.
I'm going to pee while you're hunting this.
Okay.
Nah.
Meh.
Oh god, you've got to stop putting at the beginning of every episode.
Why? Why?
Well, Paige for one said she will stop listening if you don't.
Oh, really? Really?
She hates it.
Come on.
Alright, bye-bye.
He's singing it.
I don't even watch midget porn. That's not real.
No. It's not real?
Yeah, midgets aren't, real.
Oh.
They're only in The Wizard of Oz. That's not even the right movie. I meant to fucking say Willy Wonka. God.
I think they were in The Wizard of Oz too. The Munchkins.
And Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
I almost wonder if he had a fetish.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Ewoks come from his bizarre attachment to his teddy bear he once had as a child.
I was actually, while waiting on you to fix your computer, I was watching this video that was about how editing saved Star Wars. And from that, I kind of got the feeling that George Lucas actually is really shit at making movies. And he just lucked out in having really good editors and a really good composer to make it good.
I mean, and a good story, but a story that's like... his story is totally just like textbook hero journey.
Yeah,
like, very textbook hero journey. I mean, because you've got the wise old... You've got, the person with powers they don't understand. You've got the wise old master. You've got the second reclusive wild old master, or wise old master. You've just got like these tropes, and he didn't hide that. It was very much inspired by, Eastern lore and stories that he was really into. That's why Stoicism features in really big. I mean, Yoda's basically just a Stoic. We've also got a new Star Wars movie coming out this weekend.
I'm going tonight.
Oh. Well, I won't be able to go probably until this weekend, if I can even go this weekend. I hope I can go this weekend. Because if I get spoilers for it, like I got Han's death spoiled for me out of the Force Awakens before I could see it.
Jeez, who was the asshole that did that?
The fucking internet. Like,
Dude.
I just open up Facebook one day and I'm scrolling, there's just an article that just says what Han's death means for Star Wars, and I'm like, oh fuck me, it's Saturday, goddammit. like you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Dude, you have to stay off the internet until you catch up.
Dude, that happened to me with Game of Thrones this year because all the fucking scripts leaked.
Oh yeah, that was a huge thing.
You're caught up, right?
Yeah.
Dude, fucking the death of Viserion and Resurrection as an Ice Dragon, that got spoiled for me through Facebook, just because the scripts leaked, and then people who are posting articles and things about the script leaks are just posting the goddamn spoilers. I'm like, shit, people.
See,
Don't post spoilers before the episode even has a chance to air. What the fuck?
I mean, yeah, it was a leak. It wasn't assholes making articles and posts talking about, just different spoilers. I was fortunate enough to hear that there was a script leak and not know any details about it, so I purposefully stayed off all forms of social media until I finally got caught up.
Yeah, literally the first thing that I saw before I knew that there was a script leak for that episode. I knew there was one for the previous episode, but I hadn't seen anything from it. But before I saw anything about that episode scripted leaked, I'm just like, I see the Night King will cross the wall with an ice dragon according to leaks, and I'm like, oh well, how the fuck's he gonna get a dragon? I wonder.
Damn.
And it did reduce the drama of that episode for me quite a bit, because I knew like that she was going to show up with dragons just in time. I knew one of them was going to die, and I knew one of them was going to come back. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, let's see. No, it wasn't you. You haven't. That's right, because you're not watching Walking Dead either.
Nope.
Erica was spoiled something that happened recently on The Walking Dead, and I told her to just tell me, because I haven't watched any of it this season.
It's probably the same thing I heard.
Before you say spoilers, everyone.
I heard Carl got bit.
Carl died.
That's what I thought. I heard he got like, damn.
And it's causing a huge uproar from fans and everything, because Carl is such a major character in the comics. But the thing is that the actor has turned 18 and he's going to college, and it's been a sort of a few years coming where he's going to have to leave.
Well, also, I think it's probably sparking a big uproar because I don't think Carl's dead in the comics. I think Carl is still alive in the comic.
He's not. There's this whole story arc with him, like, much older.
That's what I thought. That's probably why that's a sharp departure from the comics, because the comics, it's even been said it's really Carl's story, not Rick's.
Right. See, obviously I haven't seen the episode, so I don't know how it was shot and everything. It could just be Glenn's first death all over again, where it's implied so the actor can go to college.
And then just come back later older.
Yeah, or recast as someone older down the road. I don't know. I honestly don't know how much longer that show can go, because the fan base has dropped significantly.
Well, it's just like, I didn't even care. Like, I saw that spoiler and I was just like, oh, they killed off Carl.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I literally just like shrugged my shoulders, because I don't know why. I don't know what they did. I don't know what wrong turn they took that made me just lose interest.
Well, see, I know, at least for me, it was just, they had these huge stories that they were trying to make 20-something episodes in a season? And
it's really 16. It's like 8 and 8. They do like they do that AMC half season thing where it's 8 episodes and then another 8.
Okay. But still, I mean, a lot of these stories, they were trying to spread out more, so you get like a whole bunch of episodes where nothing's happening.
Yeah, and it even felt like they were dragging the conversation. I know another thing that got me. Okay, we're in like season fucking 7, right?
I don't know.
But I mean, well, I'm just saying, right? As a sentence punctuation, basically. I know we were in season 7 at the time I'm about to talk about here, but it's just like it's Rick talking to Michonne for the millionth time, and saying for the millionth time, "We got to keep it together for the group. There's got to be something better than this out there. There's got to be something better." I'm like, oh, fuck me, you've been saying that for 7 seasons.
It's kind of...
Gotta be something better. Gotta be something better. I mean, it's like winter is coming, but without the fact that winter is actually coming.
That almost lost me, actually. When I was watching Game of Thrones, it was like, all right, is winter coming or what? But the thing that Game of Thrones did that The Walking Dead hasn't done is they keep it interesting. I know that's such a broad thing to say, but I mean, it's literally their jobs to write episodes and get people to watch. And when you're having the same situations happen over and over again, the same conversations happen over and over again, and at the same time, nothing's happening, in terms of the main plot, you're going to lose people.
Yeah, and like to drop like such a powerful character as Negan, basically they need like the comic books deep repository of characters, because like Negan creates a fucking bloodbath in the comic.
Yeah.
And in the show, it's like, he kills 2 people and then like goes 7 episodes and then kills like 1 more person that you don't even care about. And then...
Well, see, that's the thing. The last episode, the last season that I watched, which was actually last year's, that was the thing I kept telling myself watching these episodes is they're building it up, just keep watching, it'll pay off in the end. Because that's kind of what it is. It's like all season, it's boring as shit. They're setting up everything all season long, and then come the season finale or the last couple seasons or last couple episodes of the season, it's like, yeah, this was good.
I don't want to watch 7 episodes for one good one, though. That's the thing. I don't want 7 hours to build up for one good one. That is too much foreplay. Goddammit, get to the point.
That's pretty much why I stopped watching.
To return to like the Game of Thrones comparison, there, it's like but the winter is coming thing. You should know the winter really is coming. I mean, you've seen the White Walkers. You've seen what's happening in the north, and Westeros has an extremely long autumn. Like their seasons last years, so that's the whole thing there. But like, just to look at it, like as things are unfolding in Game of Thrones, there's all these subplots and things that are really interesting and just a complex depth of characters. And of course they can't do that with Walking Dead because they don't have the money for that.
Well, Game of Thrones also has this thing where, concerning winter, it's always something that you're anticipating or something that you're being reminded of, like, oh, when that comes, blah, 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 something's going to happen. With Walking Dead, it's like, what's the fucking end game here? Like, what are they going towards? Anything? Just surviving? Waiting till they're all dead? Is that it? There's no end goal.
Yeah, it's like basically like with Game of Thrones, you have multiple subplots unfolding at all times, and you've got these 2 big plots that have been arcing throughout the entire series. Okay, for example of subplot, you've got Cersei and the religious nut jobs. The High Sparrow and all of his little nutsacks. That's one of the subplots that arcs over about a season and a half. But meanwhile, you've got the big plot of Daenerys coming back for her throne. That's been arcing over 7 full seasons. Yeah. And you've got the big plot of the White Walkers are coming, and that's been arcing over 7 full seasons. And you've got now those 2 things intersecting with each other, and it's really interesting because they were able to keep the show interesting all this time by having these subplots. I mean, the War of the Kings, that seemed like that was the big thing, right? Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne? Now it seems like who's going to be alive to sit on it.
Right.
So it's I don't know. I think they need to have some more actual like subplots that we're invested in, because I never felt invested in the Walking Dead subplots. Like there would be some little thing going on, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. I can't count how many characters they killed off, and I didn't care. If I watch a show for 6 seasons, I should care when a character dies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've all come close to death so many times that it's kind of like my problem with Supernatural, when it, like you were saying in a previous episode, that anytime Sam or Dean's life is in, on the balance here, it's like, whatever, they'll come back.
I doubt it when Cass's life is in danger too. I'm just like,
I still haven't started season 13 because On Demand's being a bitch. So I'm just caught up to 12. Where?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, well, try to watch the episodes without looking at the thumbnails if you don't want spoilers, because the thumbnails for the episodes themselves are going to tell you things. I actually hate when they do that, when an episode's thumbnail like drops something like, "Oh, okay."
Well, he's back. Yeah.
Exactly.
Erica, my wife, she likes to. I don't know why I keep saying my wife. You know who Erica is. Anyway.
Probably for listeners.
Probably. Anyway, Erica, she likes to read on Netflix. She likes to, see the thumbnail, obviously, but she likes to read the description of that episode. And I keep telling her, it's like, no, they've spoiled episodes before.
You literally cannot do that. They literally, one of the episode thumbnails for one of the episode descriptions for Netflix, the episode where Bobby dies, it actually fucking says he dies.
Right. And
it's right there in the description. I'm like, Jesus, that's kind of big.
Yeah.
Like,
stop it, Netflix.
That is not a small detail. You could just be like, this happens, and the Winchesters lose a trusted ally.
Yeah.
I mean, and that would be like a hint, but the whole episode you'd be watching like, oh, is it Bobby? And then put Cass in danger too. Oh, is it Cass? You know, you'd be wondering which of the two it is or who it is, not going like, oh, well, I already know Bobby dies, so let's watch this episode all pissed off that I know how it ends.
Yeah. When's it coming? Just get it over with. Luckily, that wasn't spoiled for me. I kind of had the feeling that Bobby was going to die, but when it happened, I was like, oh, fuck.
That was well done, actually, though, because I felt like he had to go at some point for them to grow up.
Yeah, he was the father figure that they needed to grow out of. I agree.
Like, you know, he was the replacement for their actual dad, and...
But then they started bringing him back for certain episodes.
Yeah, kind of randomly, too.
Yeah.
And...
Anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're caught up on 12. There's alternate universe Bobby now.
Yeah, I saw him, and I was, first of all, there was like a split second. I was like, hey, Bobby! And then after that, I was like, damn it, man, just let him die.
Although that might actually kind of be like a cool way to do it. He's probably not going to be the same.
Maybe not, but I kind of hope they don't do that thing where he goes into our universe and is now what's the word? What's the damn word? A reoccurring character? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
A main character again.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that, and I don't have to even drop any spoilers to say this. I've seen a little more of that alternate universe. I'm not sure there's any save in that place.
It didn't look savable.
It didn't, did it?
No.
It still doesn't.
It's basically Mad Max, Supernatural style, from just the looks of it.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of what it looks like. It's a fucking wasteland.
Yeah. Holy shit, Jonathan.
But...
You want to get this podcast started?
Oh, yeah, sure. And stop talking about Supernatural like a couple of dumbass fangirls.
Hey, I love that show. My only regret is not getting into it sooner.
It's one of the... Actually, I was kind of glad I didn't, because I didn't have to sit through all the, like, wait times to catch up. I literally just got to binge through, like... Well, for me, I binged through 11 seasons and had to wait on 12, but...
Right. That is good. Watching 13 seasons back-to-back, that's awesome.
I mean, because if I had been watching from the very beginning and I'd watched that episode Bugs on TV, I might not have watched the episode after it. Like, I don't know if I would have or not.
Remind me?
They even make fun of it themselves throughout the series.
Okay.
That's the one where, Chuck said he hadn't seen that look on someone's face since he handed them bugs.
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, well, Bugs is the episode where, like, it starts out with these power company people, and they basically fall through a hole, and the guy gets consumed by bugs. And they spend the whole episode trying to convince these people to leave the town because there's some sort of ancient Indian bug plague coming. And it's got, like, some terrible CGI, and
yeah, I remember that.
The supporting actors are bad. The supporting actors in that episode are really bad. It's the worst episode of Supernatural by far.
That was pretty bad. That was bad.
And it's only like episode 3 or 4, so if I had been watching that from the beginning, like on TV, I might not have kept watching. I've been like, all right, no. If this is what you're doing, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get this shit started.
I thought it was already started.
We're going to start it now.
You can't start something that was already started.
You know what, bitch? Thanks, everyone, for joining us on another episode of Theory of Anything.
Yeah, you know what, bitch? I'm doing an intro anyway. Fuck it.
Fuck it! Anyway. Feeling good, man. Feeling good. I dropped some Devil's Donuts in my golden toilet before we started. So I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling mediocre, but it'll work.
Whoa. Okay. Bummer.
I have to throw my computer out a window, so, I was feeling pretty snazzy before that.
All right, so real quick before we get into it, this is going to be our last episode until after the holidays. We're going to take a little bit of a break, first of all, to get through Christmas and everything like that and into the new year. Secondly, we're also going to be upgrading our entire platform. And I think it's probably a good time to go ahead and tell them what's going on, John.
Oh, is it?
Are they ready?
Well,
All right. So we're...
Two big things. Two really big things.
Go ahead and take it.
All right. First really big thing is we're going to be launching with SoundCloud, which will allow you to listen to us without having to keep a YouTube window open at all times.
Holy shit! First of all, I think it's Podbean we decided on.
Oh, we are. Yeah, we did decide on Podbean. That's right.
Yeah, a little bit better software. But yes, you don't have to keep your phone on anymore to listen to our episodes. You can just download it straight to your phone and listen to it wherever you are.
Or you can do as I do with many podcasts I listen to. You can stream it over 4G because they usually actually don't use all that much data.
Right. Not in that way. But YouTube, shit, man. That's a lot of data.
Yeah, man, listening to our podcast back on YouTube or any podcast that's on YouTube, it uses just as much data as watching a high-quality video. So,
even though there's nothing on our screens except our logo.
Yep, it still comes through as streaming video, so that will significantly reduce the... and plus, you can shut your phone. You don't have to have YouTube Red to shut your phone or keep it up on a laptop. You can stick it in your pocket.
So there is that. What was the second thing?
The second is we will be launching a website.
That's right. We haven't locked it in yet, but we are going to try to get the domain theoryofanything.com or theoryofanythingpodcast.com. But once that is launched, we'll obviously tell you all about it.
And if you snipe that domain name, I swear I will come over and Devil's Donuts upper deck your toilet. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, so that's exciting news, man. We're also not, in addition to Podbean, if you usually don't go to Podbean, we are going to submit our podcast to iTunes and also Google Play. So you don't have to go directly to Podbean. If you have your iPhone app or your Google Play app, you could just download it straight from there.
Yep, so that will be a pretty big improvement.
Exciting times! All right, so
YouTube probably really is, no kidding, one of the worst vessels to actually deliver a podcast. It's good for starting, but not.
Yeah, it's good for a temporary thing, especially for us where we don't have video. It's just audio. YouTube is not ideal.
Yep.
But anyway, so I guess that makes this our Christmas episode, right?
I guess technically, yeah, even though Christmas is 11 days away. Yeah, 11 days away.
Yeah. All right. Well, since this is our Christmas episode and the Ask Anything question we have for this week, let's go ahead and answer that. The question is, so I'll go ahead and let you answer first. What is one of the Christmas presents you have received in the past that you wish you hadn't gotten?
You know, honestly, like I saw this earlier during the week, and I was kind of racking my brain about it because I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head, and I still kind of can't. It's because I can't really recall like just a straight up bad gift I've been given. I mean, there's the standards, like, you know, when you're a kid, you know,
clothes.
Well, actually, it wasn't that I didn't like clothes. It was whenever people bought me clothes that weren't my style or that I didn't want to wear.
Right.
Like something like, for example, like in high school, I would, you know me, I mostly wore like band T-shirts and blue jeans, and I'd go to Christmas and I'd get like a American Eagle shirt or something. It looked like super douchey, and I just said no. I'd be like, thanks, and then not tell them I'm never gonna wear it.
So
but it's
douchey clothes.
It'd be something like that, just something that I'm not gonna use because I can't recall. Oh, I can recall one when I was a kid. I can't remember the name of the book, but I got a book that was literally like, it wasn't like young adult fiction or anything. I was like 7, and I got like a thick ass book that was like totally for adults. Mm-hmm. And I started to try to read it, and there was just no way. There was just no way for like a 7-year-old to connect with this literature. And I'm just going like, what in the hell? Well, in 7-year-old brain terms, going like, which was really just like, yeah, I'm not reading this, and put it aside. So it's just stuff that I couldn't use.
All right. You know, nothing really stands out. I've pretty much always been that type of person. Like, I appreciate the thought, you know, like that, I don't know, they thought of me enough to get something for me, but I don't know. That's kind of a hard question.
Same. Like, I mean, I was a little kid that I would say thank you for socks. And then, like, as an adult, if I go to, our family Christmas get-together and someone gets me socks, I'm genuinely grateful. Because I'm like, sweet, I don't have to spend money on fucking socks.
Well, there is... Right. Well, there is one thing. This was a long time ago. I may have been 10 or 11 years old. And we were at my uncle's house... My uncle, who we, at the time, didn't even see, maybe once a year. And it usually was Christmas. And it's not that it was a bad gift. It was just one of those unfortunate situations where you just got that as another gift. It was, you remember those scooters, the Razor scooters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was around the time that those were extremely popular, and I got one from one family member, and while I was at my uncle's house, I had gotten the exact same one. So again, it wasn't a bad gift, and it's not that I wish I hadn't gotten it, but it was just like, thanks, but I already have one. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it.
Yeah, I've gotten duplicates before as a kid, only a couple times, but also like being growing up divorced with two households, if I got a duplicate, one just went to each place, and also being an only child. Because I mean, if I had like a brother or sister or something, I probably would have just given them the duplicate. Right. Been like, okay, well, I got two of these, so you can have one. But
that makes sense. I think I had a total of like 3 scooters back then.
But
all right, so thanks for that question. Now, last week you had said that you wanted to talk about this article you posted probably by now 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been like a full 2 weeks, actually over 2 weeks now.
Okay. What was that about?
All right, so a few people have probably seen this just browsing around the internet. It was fairly popular. It's from the page I Fucking Love Science. And it was on this study that says that you may not really choose your thoughts. It's basically a study on what consciousness actually is.
Okay.
So, let me grab a quote from it real quick here.
That's a very deep topic, very in-depth.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, it really leads into one of the big questions I've always asked myself, which is, what is the I in your brain? Like, your subconscious thoughts, you probably hear, you think, I don't like that. I mean, sometimes you may think of the second person, so I'm just like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah, I say that all the time.
But I also think in the second person a lot, too. So, or in the first person, sorry, a lot, too. So, it's like, what is the part of my brain that's referring to itself as I? Which, that's the classic question, what is consciousness?
Okay.
And I'm having a hard time getting the quote because the thing's not wanting to cooperate.
I may have while that's loading, I may have interpreted it wrong when I read it, but the idea that I got from it, or one of the ideas that I got from it when I was reading it, was that there's no such thing as an original thought.
It didn't really say that. Basically, it's saying that, like, your consciousness is... You're not... I'll grab the quote, actually, because that's a better way to sum it up. They sum it up a lot better than I can with their actual quote.
All right.
According to Oakley and Halligan, which are the two professors who did the study, the contents of consciousness are generated behind the scenes by fast, efficient, non-conscious systems in our brain. All this happens without any interference from our personal awareness, which sits passively in the passenger seat while these processes occur. Put simply, we don't consciously choose our thoughts or our feelings. We just become aware of them.
That's interesting.
But that's the interesting thing. What is the we that becomes aware of the thoughts?
Our conscious self?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, if there's something that's not a part of just the brain's simple process, what is that? And why would it just be becoming aware of our thoughts and feelings, not have any input or voice in those thoughts and feelings?
I don't know. I mean, you say simple brain functions, but obviously the brain's super complex. So, but when I read this quote to myself, the one that you just said, although it has nothing to do with memory, but it reminds me of a thought that I've had for years about conscious memory versus subconscious memory, and the idea of forgetting something or the idea of remembering something. And I've always kind of had the thought that you really never forget anything, like literally anything. The only time that you remember something is your conscious brain retrieving that memory from your subconscious brain. And when you forget something, it's the inability to grab it. But it's still there. That's why sometimes you can't remember it, and then later you do remember it.
Well, that's another fascinating thing that happens with studies on people who have Alzheimer's. They'll forget stuff that we would consider really important, like really important things. But then they'll remember some bizarre, specific, ridiculously tiny detail of something from 40, 50 years ago.
Right.
And you're like, wait a minute, your brain can pick that out of the memory, but not, this over here. And then sometimes their brain can pick this other thing out of the memory.
I think it's just a matter of being able to associate things with your conscious brain, which your conscious brain would be connected to like your five senses. And they actually say that the sense of smell has the closest connection with memory out of all the senses. And so when you're able to associate something to your subconscious memory in whatever way that is, then that's what brings it to your conscious memory, and you're able to pull from it. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think it's all in there.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So there's, you have those people that, you say, I have a photographic memory, which is essentially taking a mental picture of whatever you're looking at and being able to recall it and pick out details about it. And a lot of people that I've personally talked to think that people with photographic memory is just something you're born with. I actually think it's something that you can train yourself to do. And, like, what was it? I think it's the FBI, maybe. Like, one of the tests that they do on you as a memory test is they show you an image for whatever time length, and after that, you're supposed to recall a certain number of details about that image. So I think you can get better at recalling information, but even without that, something very weird is happening in the subconscious brain where no detail is ever forgotten.
Yeah, because I've dreamed stuff about my childhood or things like that, and then there will be so many details there, and I'll actually mention it to one of my parents, like, hey, did we ever have a whatever the fuck? And they're like, yeah, what made you think that I dreamed about it? But it's not something that I would, like, if you asked me to picture that room or that setting from when I was a kid, my conscious brain probably wouldn't pick it out. It's like too tiny of a detail or too small of a detail for my conscious brain to be like, oh, yeah, I remember that really important jar that was sitting on this desk that day.
Yeah, that is really strange.
Our conscious brain spends a lot of time filtering what's important and what's not important.
Yeah. Well, is it part of our unconscious or subconscious brain that regulates breathing and?
I don't think it's really the subconscious brain. I thought that's just autonomic nervous system function, but.
Okay.
Basically, you can be completely unconscious, and your body will keep, will keep all that going.
Is it
you can actually be brain dead, and your body keep that stuff going.
Is it one of those things? Maybe your conscious brain is just being bombarded with so much information that it has a hard time of singling out something in particular, like a memory long past?
Maybe. It's one of these things. Well, one of the first things you do when you're trying to picture something from from the past, one of the first things you do is you close your eyes, right? the first thing you do is you block your current visual impulse, your current visual input.
And everybody shut up! Let me think!
Yeah, it's like you currently block the sensory input that you're getting right now. It's the first thing you do. And, I think that's the brain just choosing like, hey, wait a minute, I'm trying to pull this stuff out of the past. I cannot deal with the present.
Right. But what about those memories that you forgotten? But let's say it's a traumatic event in your life, and whatever defense mechanism your brain has, it forces you to forget it or replaces it with a false memory. Now, what is it that when let's say you have one of those memories and it comes back and you all of a sudden remember it. Now, all of a sudden, you can't forget that again.
I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't think you can consciously forget something, because like once you're aware of it, you're like, oh shit, I'm aware of it. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to focus really hard on forgetting this thing. Okay, I don't want to remember the thing. I don't want to remember the thing. But the whole time while you're doing that, you're thinking about the thing.
Right. First of all, this is the wrong questions we need to be asking each other, because neither of us is qualified for this shit.
Ah, shit, we're all qualified. We're all human. We're trying to figure this shit out.
I know, but I just don't know enough about how the brain works to have like a legitimate theory or hypothesis on this. It's just ideas that I have randomly.
Well, mentally, when I read this article, I went in a total different direction. I went in more of like a philosophical direction. Because if there is a sense of awareness and consciousness that is more observing our thoughts than creating them, which, by the way, I actually don't buy that. I'll get into that here in a moment.
Say that again? You kind of rushed through that. What was that?
Which, by the way, I actually don't buy that.
Buy what?
That we can't control our thoughts at all. I don't think we can fully control them, but I don't think that we're completely without control, or at least a measure of control. But if our consciousness just becomes aware of our thoughts, then what really is consciousness?
I mean, that's the $1 million question, man.
What really is the conscious mind? What is this I that is observing all of these thoughts? Because think about it this way. If I look out my window and observe, a tree, well, I'm not the tree. I'm the observer of the tree. So when you're observing your thoughts, if you really are just observing your thoughts and your feelings, then what are you as the observer? What are you looking outside and observing it?
I don't think we're high enough for this conversation.
Maybe not. But that's where I went with it when I read it. I don't know. And at the same time, I guess what I was going to say about a choice in thoughts is it seems like, and it's extremely difficult to harness, but it seems like you can kind of voluntarily attach to or let go of certain thoughts, using awareness. You can be like, hey, that thought is not really serving me. I'm going to just let that float on by.
Yeah, but that's more rational thinking. That's rationalizing to yourself that the emotions that come from whatever thought isn't the right way to go about it. So you're not changing your thought, you're changing your outlook on that thought.
Right, but what is the you that's changing your outlook on that thought? Is that just another thought of the thoughts whirring in your head?
Well, I think there's something weird with the human brain, at least as far as we know, it's only the human brains that do this. And that's the mind or consciousness versus instincts. Now, you could experience something that your automatic response or your instinct would be, let's say, anger. But your conscious self, I guess you could call it, would say, no, that's not the right way to handle this situation. Let's react in a different way. So you're going against your instincts. Am I making any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, or you're at least going against like your knee-jerk reaction or your pre-programmed reaction, you could almost call it, because not everybody has. That's the thing. Not everybody has those anger reactions and impulses. There's a lot that goes into being an angry person. There's a lot that goes into creating that level of anger.
Yes, I guess I could sort of compare it to this: is that instincts is a product of the brain, but the mind is something completely different that's being put out by it. And okay, let's put it this way. Actually, I'll bring it right from the article here because they actually kind of talk about that. Hold on. Okay, here it is. It says they use a metaphor of a train to clarify their idea. It says the relationship between the mind and the brain is like that between a steam whistle and an engine. The steam whistle acts in response to the work of the engine, but has no influence over it. Similarly, consciousness is the product of the brain, but it can't control it.
Then what influences the brain? Is it really just what you eat? And if it's what you eat, then what's selecting that? Is the brain just selecting its own foods and its own wants? And even if it doesn't serve its own purposes and serve itself, it's just doing what it likes to do? And
I don't know.
there's no
Like, if
conscious control?
That's something I've actually thought about before. Is if we're craving something that's bad for us, why are we craving it? Shouldn't the body work in the opposite direction? That we crave like healthy things instead of I really want some ice cream, and it doesn't make sense really.
Well, there's other things that go into that. The bacteria and the yeast and things in your gut actually want sugar.
Or is it the fact that you're searching the emotion tied to that item? Like, I like how I feel when I'm eating ice cream. It's not that you're craving the ice cream, you're craving the feeling of eating the ice cream.
Well, sugar gives you a dopamine release for one, so
I mean, well, it's not just sugar though. I mean, comfort foods. Comfort foods are called comfort foods because they make you comfortable. It feels good eating them.
Name me a comfort food that's not sweet.
Macaroni and cheese.
That's not a comfort food.
Yes, it is. You're going to argue with the chef?
And it's still, as far as how your body receives it, it's still sugary as fuck.
Well, I guess when the carbs break down.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons your body craves carbs. It breaks them down to sugar.
That's not until later, though. Meatloaf is considered a comfort food.
I have never considered meatloaf a comfort food, but okay.
Okay, well, that's you. Not everyone has to be the same, John.
I've always considered comfort foods as, like sweets and...
That's you. Not everybody has to be the same, Jonathan. People are different.
No, everybody has to be the same. This article says our brain's just a little computer running by itself.
I believe
or
that.
A big computer. See, I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe that there's not something to consciousness that we don't understand. There's something odd about thinking that, because man, if you go that route, then what are we really responsible for? Are we really just the result of the programming? Are we the result of our parents' programming us?
I think it's a combination of all of it. It's not one definitive answer. It's all of the components working together.
That could boil down like success in life and success in society and all these things to really luck, like where you come out, what you're exposed to, what things your brain gets programmed with, how fast your brain is, whether it's deficient in these neurotransmitters or those neurotransmitters. It could really boil down to a lot of luck.
Well, isn't that sort of a running thing that successful people say? Is that, yeah, I was disciplined, I was determined, I had a good idea, but at the end of the day, I got lucky.
But how many people do you also see that have that story where things weren't going so well, and then they change something, and that makes a big difference? What's the catalyst for change if the brain just produces its own thoughts? What's the thing that pushes the brain in a direction that it hasn't been going before?
I don't understand neuroscience to answer that question. I don't understand it enough.
I don't even think they fully understand it at this point. I mean, because first of all, that's one study by two guys, so that's it's not exactly definitive final answer on what consciousness is. Obviously,
it's really hard to I think I've said this in a previous episode, but it's really hard to figure out something when you are that something.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Like, I'm sitting here considering what consciousness is, but I'm doing it consciously.
It's like, this is probably the stupidest example I can give, but it's just what popped in my head just now. It's like a mirror trying to look at itself with a mirror.
That makes sense.
And I swear to God, I'm not high. That was the most off the wall shit ever.
No, there's actually there's like a kind of like weird meditation / mystical technique that's called like a mirror room or like a mirror box, and it basically creates kind of like infinite reflections on all sides.
Yeah.
And you kind of just stare into it, and it's
well, it's sort of, it kind of gives the idea of the whole fractal experience that people experience when meditating, or especially on psychedelic drugs.
Right, and everything is and then of course you've got the idea that everything is reflecting everything else.
Oh my God, my brain.
So I don't know. I think there's something to consciousness that's not currently understood by neuroscience. I think there's more to it.
Well, there definitely is, and I don't know if we are the right being to figure that out. That might be something AI has to do for us.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Will AI fully understand human consciousness?
Maybe.
Or will they understand human consciousness in the same way that we understand monkey consciousness, as in we study it and we come up with something new, and then we study it and we come up with something else new?
We're retarded apes, man. I don't know the answer, and no one does.
Hey, we're the best. We're the best ape Earth has.
Oh my God. Let's move on to another topic that's not this vast. I mean, it's super interesting, but I swear to God, I could talk about this for hours, and no one wants to fucking listen to that. But, oh yeah.
You see, but did you think that, or did your brain just think it?
Shut the fuck up. All right, my brain hurts. It hurts, man. Leave it alone. Okay. Did you? Oh, you heard that your boy Roy Moore lost.
Hell yes, I did. I was glad. He almost won, though. It was only 9,000 votes.
That's crazy, man. That means that 9,000 people were like, nah, I don't think so. But yeah, the rest were, I don't care if you fuck kids.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a 9,000 vote difference. I mean, it was hundreds of thousands of votes for each of them, but there was a whole bunch of people that either thought, well, there were a bunch of people that thought it was a big liberal conspiracy.
Of course!
They paid all of those people off. They manufactured their evidence. There were people... Have you seen the video where they're interviewing people, asking them why they're voting for him?
No.
Oh, shit. Okay. Let me see if I can sum it up. Let me see if I can find it. I actually think I can find it.
If they were being paid off for that kind of stuff, then where's our money? Because we talk shit about Roy Moore for like 4 goddamn episodes.
Yeah, but no one was listening to us.
Fuck, man, come on!
And yeah, my browser's not going to open properly.
Can you sum it up?
Basically, they were asking people things about, like, people who were voting for Roy Moore, like how they felt about that. And it was either it's a conspiracy. One woman was just like, "Oh, so he kissed a young girl and wrote her some poetry. Big whoop."
All right.
That's a 30-year-old man and a 14-year-old. That is not big whoop. Also, there was a guy that's just like, "It was 40 years ago. Who cares?" I'm like, okay, that doesn't speak to the guy's character at all.
Well, for the second time, I will paraphrase Bill Hicks. Then don't bring Jesus up to me. Happened thousands of years ago. Forget about it.
Oh, yeah. But there's also they asked one guy, and he's just like, if you think about the country during that time period, there's probably plenty of people who would have been happy to have their daughter dating a district attorney, even if he was in his 30s. And I'm like...
And that's not okay.
I'm like, just because their parents are fucked in the head doesn't mean that what he's doing is suddenly cool.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's start adopting all the old customs that we used to do. No matter how fucked up they were.
Yeah, why not, right? It's been a while since we've done a human blood sacrifice. We can get in on that.
Yeah, we're overdue for one. Let's line them up. Build me a temple so I can sacrifice you.
We don't have to build a temple. We'll just go down to the ones that are still standing. Still there.
Why did you commit this murder? What? It was a sacrifice. I had to appease my gods. Freedom of religion, bitch.
It's been a long time since we've cut out someone's heart and eaten it in front of a large crowd while chanting to our gods. In hopes that the sun will grow, make our crops grow. Let's just never throw out old ideas. Let's just never come up with anything new. Let's never be like, hey, maybe we didn't have shit right 20 years ago.
I think that would be the opposite of progress.
Yeah, it's called regress.
Yeah, quit looking to the past.
Yeah, that dude even said that one of the time periods when the country was great was before Reconstruction. And before Reconstruction, the South had slaves.
I was about to say...
So the country was great when we had slaves. What the fuck, dude?
So what, you want to bring back slavery?
That guy only lost by 9,000 votes. That guy almost got elected to the United States Senate.
This is why everyone makes fun of us, South.
Yeah, I mean, any state other than Alabama, he would have been doomed worse than he was doomed there.
I would like to think so, but...
And by the way, the third place candidate wasn't even running in the election. It was write-in votes for Alabama University football head coach Nick Saban. 20,000 people wrote in votes for Nick Saban. 20,000. More people voted for Nick Saban than the gap between Roy Moore
was he a Republican?
And Doug Jones. No, I don't know what Nick Saban is. Nick Saban was not running. Nick Saban coaches football. Oh, yeah, he had nothing to do with this shit.
I just keep thinking. I just can't help but think of the people who are like, God, he's either a pedophile or a Democrat. Fuck it, I'm voting for coach.
I was going to say Alabama, man. Yeah. Where they don't even want to support a football team unless it's in red.
That's great.
Oh yeah, man, that's
Roy Moore did not make it in. Amazing.
And that makes the U.S. Senate balance 49-51. It is almost 50-50.
Oh my God, what were they talking about? Potentially impeaching Trump? I wasn't able to look into it, but have you heard anything about that?
I've heard about 7 different potential impeachment articles for Donald Trump, and it's usually either conspiracy theory type stuff or it's like there's this one congressman from Tennessee who just has it in his head that he's going to get that done.
No, this was like yesterday. Like they actually, Congress actually voted on it.
I didn't see it.
Let me pull it up then. All I want for Christmas is you.
I was going to plug in my work lyrics for when that song plays at work. I was going to say is booze, but...
Oh.
I'm going to pee while you're hunting this.
Okay.
Nah. Oh God, you've got to stop putting at the beginning of every episode.
Why? Why?
Well, Paige for one said she will stop listening if you don't.
Oh, really? Really?
She hates it.
Come on.
All right, do it.
He's singing it.
And I guess whenever I got up to go to the bathroom, it locked up while I went away to do that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's what it was. It's something with Chrome, because Chrome is actually what locked it up earlier. Okay. I actually may just my problem may be I need to delete and reinstall Chrome.
That might be it. But before we go any further here, the impeachment thing was actually a week ago, and you are right that a representative tried to get it. It was Al Green. He tries to get the House to vote in favor of Trump's impeachment, but they decided against it. And
he's the representative from Tennessee, right? I'm thinking of the right guy.
Al Green is the Texas, I thought.
There's one guy from Tennessee who's tried it twice already.
They definitely have grounds to impeach Trump. I mean, there's that whole obstruction of justice thing when he fired Comey. That's straight up obstruction.
That took Nixon out. I mean, obstruction is what took a president down before him. That's Nixon.
Well, there was also that huge Watergate scandal.
That's what Watergate was. Watergate, what got Nixon in trouble over Watergate was the fact that he used presidential privilege to hide his involvement in it and to hide his associates' involvement in it. And that is what got him hit with obstruction of justice.
Right. So if he'd have just been upfront about it, like Trump firing Comey, he would have not been impeached. Well, he actually wasn't impeached. He resigned.
Yeah, well, he was going to be impeached, and
right.
He knew it. And the impeachment process, impeachment is the process of removal from office. So just like Clinton technically was impeached.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's just the articles of impeachment did not succeed, which that's a crazy thing. Literally tried to impeach a guy for having sex. That's crazy. And because he lied about it. Well, he shouldn't have to tell them who he bangs.
That goes against the morals of the American people.
Fuck morals. All I care about is getting, proper rights and protections for people. And if a guy's getting his dick sucked on the side, what the fuck do I care?
I don't know, man. It's one of those things like, do we get rid of the guy who's pissing off the world? Or do we chance it with Pence?
Oh, fuck me. You see, we're kind of... And the thing is, even if you could tie something dirty to both of them and get them both out of there, now Paul Ryan's the president. Fuck.
It's not a good situation, man.
It's the weirdest thing where, Pence is probably the best of the three.
Maybe.
But that's not saying much. That's like saying, you're looking at three piles of shit and trying to figure out which one's less runny.
That's basically the exact description of that whole election, Hillary versus Trump. Well, which one sucks worse?
I actually didn't feel because I started to do some real research, I don't feel like she was actually anywhere near as bad as a lot of the propaganda and attacks labeled on her. I mean, the biggest thing that gets laid on her is the emails thing. The emails in Benghazi. She was cleared by different committees, both led by Republicans, multiple times. I mean, if they could have got anything to nail her down on, they would have done it. That party hates her. If they had anything, they would have used it. And then there's the emails thing. Well, President Bush, Jr., W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and Colin Powell all had private email servers just like her. They did the exact same thing as her. It was just kind of a, forgive the pun here, trumped up charge to make it seem like that she had really done something wrong when what she had really done. And then you could argue that maybe Obama or major players in the administration should have said, hey, you can't do that. But it was not exactly an unusual thing for people high up in government and the executive branch to have private email servers and to have their information that they need for work also on that server. It wasn't unusual at all. That's why nothing came of it, even though they tried to make it into a huge deal.
It's all shady shit, man.
Well, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's basically it. It's just, we never know all of the information. We don't know what's real, what's fake or propaganda. I don't know what the right answer should be.
Well, it comes down to, I mean, both parties are going to play power games, and the little guy is not going to win out big with either one of them. But, I mean, who do you feel makes policies that benefit the working class more? For me, it would be the left, because it seems like the right's idea of helping out the working class is delivering a tax cut to the top 10%.
The trickle-down economics you talked about last episode.
Yep.
Well,
if you want to feed the birds, feed the horses, and let the birds pick through the shit.
I don't know the right answer because I'm not an economist. I'm not a politics expert by any means. It just makes sense to me that making the rich richer doesn't help anyone except the rich.
Yeah,
now
supposedly the idea.
That's not necessarily saying that the left is right in how they do stuff, but I do know that trickle down economic shit doesn't work.
And the right also has serious problems with their view of civil liberties and protections for things like reproductive freedom and rights for gay people as well. And it took a left-wing administration to put pressure behind that to get that done. And it was the Supreme Court that, finally made that ruling. But it doesn't seem like the right is progressive at all in any way.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm about to dig too deep into the philosophy of the two parties, but
I honestly didn't even mean for this to go on as much as it did. I just remember I remembered hearing something about it yesterday. I didn't even have it written. I didn't even have it written down.
I haven't even touched on net neutrality. Haven't even touched that.
Do you want to?
Not really. I mean, I'm kind of concerned about it because I feel like it's an issue that actually affects us. But
in what way?
Well, for example, look at you and me. We're now actually content creators. We're creating content and putting it on the internet, right?
Okay.
Well, we've gone with I'm gonna get too technical with the example here probably, but we've gone with Podbean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Under current net neutrality protections, say Comcast. Comcast could not tell SoundCloud or Podbean that, hey, if you guys pay us this, we will open up a fast lane for your stuff so that it comes through faster than your competitors.
Okay.
However, without net neutrality protections, they can do that. So say we've gone with Podbean. That's where we've cast our lot because, right now under net neutrality and everything we've got, it looks like the best option to grow our stuff. Well, fast forward that without net neutrality protections, SoundCloud throws some money to major ISPs to allow their stuff to come through faster and at a higher quality. So now,
it
people who went the other direction could actually have lower quality stuff coming through at a lower speed through no fault of their own and actually through what I consider shady business practices.
So from the sounds of it, it's basically opening up the door for someone to come in and monopolize the internet.
You still can't monopolize. You'll probably end up with like this weird menagerie of this company paying this company and this one pays that company, and they think competition is going to solve the whole problem. But with something as open as the internet, it can't. In the end, I feel like people, especially content creators, should be really aware of this issue because it really can affect you. If say you're making videos for YouTube. If a new video delivery service comes out and pays to be put through faster, they could take YouTube down. But the more likely scenario is, say somebody else wants to really get into video hosting and they think they can do something better than the YouTube model has done. Well, YouTube pays for the fast lanes while this company's still a startup. YouTube is fast, this company's slow because YouTube paid to be fast.
Right.
And to me, it's actually, they say that removing net neutrality is pro-competition. I think it's anti-competition. Yeah. It lets the people who are already big pay to stay big.
That's what I meant by basically the big stay big. And yeah, like there's no free market in that sense that you have YouTube will be the king and always be the king. If someone comes out with another video sharing service, it'll never be what YouTube is.
Right.
Even if it's better.
Right. I mean, if you had these kind of laws, Google might not have become the titan that it is today. I mean, now Google could pay to stay on top.
Yeah.
But I mean, Google is such a success that everybody thinks Google was fated to be a success. It was not. It was. I mean, that company actually really struggled in their early years.
But with something like this, I think I've made it clear in the past that I don't like ideas or concepts being put forward that surround the idea of money and whoever has the most wins. So yeah, I just keep it open. What's wrong with keeping it open?
Well, basically, what's wrong with keeping it open? First of all, you have to look at who is now chair of the FCC. This man, Ajit Pai, is a former lawyer for Verizon who lobbied against net neutrality protections whenever Obama's FCC chair put them through. He literally is a Verizon employee. And big telecom companies have given a lot of money to make this happen. And then they say, oh, well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to start throttling this and moving that through quicker and all that. Well, you say that, but if you're not going to do it, why do you want the rights to do it? I mean, I'm not going to lobby for the rights to do something that I don't plan on doing.
Sounds like a big steaming pile of devil's donuts to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really heavy topic to get into, and I don't want to dig much deeper than we already have. But and they're voting on it today.
Really?
Yeah, they're voting on it today. The FCC is, and it's expected that they're going to repeal Obama-era net neutrality protections. But they don't think it. A lot of people who are analyzing this don't think it's going to stand long because it's extremely unpopular. Even like 75% of people who support the Republican Party, who are the ones pushing this through, do not support the repeal of net neutrality. So it's going to be a lot of pressure on Republicans. And I haven't got to look into it myself, but a friend of mine yesterday was just telling me that a Republican congressman is working on a bill right now that even if the FCC would overturn this, would then put net neutrality protections in place through Congress as actual law, rather than through FCC as a regulation. Which in the end would be a big win because that would be bigger than just a regulation that could be overturned quickly via law. And the fact that it's a Republican pushing it through means it would probably pass. So it's just a crazy thing. It's one of these things where it's a big issue. Like I don't want to bum out on it, but it really is a big issue because it's one of the bigger defining issues of our time. Because the internet is a big hub of good old fashioned American free speech. Not even American free speech, worldwide free speech. I mean, we get videos coming out of places like Syria and Iran and places where things aren't so good, and we get to learn things about the world. We get to have that stuff right at our fingertips. We probably understand the world. This is going to sound really full of hubris here, but we probably understand the world so much better than previous generations could just because we can. Well, they didn't have all this at their fingertips.
That's not hubris to say, it's fact. I mean, we could share so much of this information about everywhere instantly. So yeah, your average person today knows a whole lot more about the world, at least from what they're getting, because you still have the bullshit videos, the bullshit articles, propaganda shit. But as a whole, overall, your average person does know more about the world than 50 years ago.
Yeah, they get a chance to. In the old way, I mean, if it didn't come through on your nightly news channel and the next, if it wasn't in the newspaper and it wasn't in your nightly news, you didn't know about it.
Right.
There wasn't all this, independent reporting and people able to just, and even the things that aren't just increasing our knowledge of the world, the things that are, allowing us to share our experiences with each other in a way that's truly unique and different to anything that's been around in other times. I mean, you can go skiing down a slope with a GoPro on your helmet and show that to the world.
Yeah.
And, maybe somebody who never would have thought about skiing or trying that out sees that and goes, man, that looks fucking fun. Then they try it out and your hobby that you enjoy grows. I mean, well, think about here's a micro that we both really understand. Think about the way the fighting game community has grown since we joined it.
Oh, it's massive, man. I mean, it's on ESPN now.
Yeah, and that got done through sharing on the internet. People, sharing across their social media, things about the FGC and about events through Twitch, tweeting this stuff out, and people who, maybe guys who used to do what we used to do. Just sit on the couch and play a little MK and jump around and hit people and not really know what the fuck they were doing.
Buttons, hit all the buttons.
Exactly. Hit them all. Hit them faster than your opponent. If hitting them faster and harder than your opponent doesn't work, get mad at the game.
Yeah. Fucking bullshit! Yeah.
Maybe those people, they see a great match between, players like Daigo and Tokido, and they're just like, wait a minute, this looks like a whole different animal than what I've been experiencing my whole life, and they become curious, and they play like that, and the whole thing grows. It's a bastion for growth in our world in so many ways.
If Twitch doesn't, excluding any random instances of like them going under or someone coming out with something better, I do see Twitch being its own like channel on whatever cable provider there is.
That'd be interesting because I don't know how that would work, because the whole appeal of Twitch is that Twitch is just a hoster.
Right, but see that's why I kind of hesitated when I said cable, because cable's going out of style. You have all these streaming services now that are basically just a combination of different channels, but it's streaming. It's not really cable.
If it wasn't for sports, I could give a fuck about having TV.
Right, it's
literally, if the NCAA will come out with its own streaming service and the NFL will come out with a streaming service that doesn't require you to, also have you've got to have DirecTV to have the Sunday ticket thing.
That's kind of dumb.
It's because of their partnership. I think when that partnership runs out, that NFL will come out with their own streaming service.
Well,
that's what I bet anyway.
That's how HBO Go used to be. It used to be you had to have HBO through your cable provider to have access to HBO Go. Now you can just have it.
And that was again part of their contracts. Those contracts ran out, and then HBO came out with a better model. And I think you'll see that. But if NCAA football and NFL come out with their own thing where you can just access that content,
they definitely will.
By paying them, $10, $15, $20 a month, whatever it is. That beats the shit out of, a $100 a month cable bill for 70 channels that you don't watch for the 3 you do.
Yeah. The only thing that I can see the problem with is those subscriptions adding up and being just as expensive or possibly even more expensive than if you were to just get cable. I think... I'm sure someone's either have done this or thinking about doing this. It's probably not an original thought, but I think you have all these streaming services. Someone needs to come out with, I guess, sort of a house service that has all these streaming services where you pay them a subscription to access to all of these other streaming services. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because that's actually an article. I read an article about 3 years ago. And I still remember it because it's slowly happening now.
Mm-hmm.
And it said that, companies were beginning to move some of their content off Netflix in favor of putting it on their own websites and things like that.
Yeah.
That was around the time Hulu was getting bigger.
Yeah.
And they were theorizing that eventually the different networks would have their own streaming services charging $4, $5, $6 a month, however much they thought they could get for it, and pulling their content away from a big hub like Netflix. And you slowly see that happening. Actually, within the next year, Disney is going to come out with their own streaming service that will have all of their animated movies and anything that Disney owns. So Star Wars, there it is. All of Star Wars right there on the Disney streaming service. Marvel, the Marvel Universe, right there. Disney streaming service.
Disney is racking up so much property. They just bought Fox for $50 billion.
I thought they didn't buy Fox. I thought they bought a stake of Fox that included
21st Century. I think it was 21st Century Fox.
Yeah, that included the rights to X-Men, and that's the whole reason they did it. They did it for nothing but the X-Men.
I think I just said 21st. I meant 20th Century Fox. 21st Century Fox.
I didn't even call you out on it. I just let it roll.
Don't do that. You call me out.
I knew what you meant.
Don't make me sound like an idiot.
I knew what you meant.
Or don't let me sound like an idiot. Call me out. Anyway.
I was about to say, I didn't make you say it.
I'm sure everyone knew what I meant, and they probably wouldn't even notice if I hadn't pointed it out. But 20th Century Fox. Anyway.
But yeah, that was mostly just so they could get the rights to Netflix. Or, the X-Men.
Really? Just X-Men? Because that's $50 billion for one thing? Why not just buy the license?
Do you realize what they have now?
X-Men.
I mean, they're getting more than that from Fox. There's a lot they get from owning 20th Century Fox, but the X-Men was the big negotiating piece. The big thing that they were after because that's what's missing from the Marvel universe right now for them. That's the big missing piece. They've got Spider-Man licensed from Sony now.
Yeah.
But the X-Men, that's a lot of characters.
But $50 billion. Does Disney have infinite money? Like, for real? They must have infinite money.
Have you actually looked at Disney World?
No, I've never been.
Like, have you even just actually, like, looked online at the size of that fucking shit and priced how much it costs to actually go there?
I've seen pictures and shit, but I know it doesn't compare to actually being there.
They shoot off fireworks every night.
Yeah, that can get pretty pricey.
These people, man, they've got so much money.
So, it used to be Walmart was going to be the Umbrella Corp, and then Google. So is it really Disney that's going to be the Umbrella Corp from Resident Evil?
No, it's still Google.
Still Google? Until they buy Google?
They can't buy Google.
Really?
Google is huge.
What if Google buys Disney? They'll be the king of the world.
Well, we're approaching the point, by the way, for Disney where they're going to have to watch for monopoly laws. They're going to have to watch that. Not really Google, because doing things that are some of the things Google does, like launching that Google Plus social media that totally failed at competing with Facebook.
Right.
I mean, they're competing with Facebook. They're not just trying to own it.
Yeah, but I thought that was like a marketing issue. That they didn't market that correctly, because I had never heard of it until it was already dead.
They marketed it. I saw it on TV, and my smartphone.
Watches TV anymore?
Okay, I saw it during football games. That's literally the only time I watch TV is football.
Right. I never watch TV.
Yeah, I mean, football and, like, occasionally the Weather Channel.
Why the weather? Dude, you have a smartphone that has a weather app.
Yeah, but, you know, like when one of those hurricanes is on or something, and they're doing all that live from the hurricane reporting, and, you know, like, you got, like, stop signs blowing through the background and shit. I mean, I was sure I could get that on my phone, but
YouTube? Dude, there's literally no reason to have cable anymore except for live events, and that's quickly going away too, because YouTube has live streaming. Of course, there's Twitch that we just talked about. All these streaming services are going to eventually have live feeds, so cable's fucked unless they change something.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need cable for a pay-per-view anymore. Like, I get pay-per-view through my PS4 whenever I'm going to watch a fight.
Yeah, PlayStation has pay-per-view. They have new movies, old movies. You can rent or buy. Yeah, they have TV shows. Like, the only thing that Hulu has an advantage on as far as, like, PSN and Netflix is that they put new episodes up, like, the day after they air.
Yeah.
And for me personally, that wasn't enough to keep giving them money every month. I'm not into that many shows. So I just have Netflix, and when I want to buy a movie or a game, it's PSN. I don't even buy discs anymore. GameStop is fucked.
They're actually looking at shifting their model a little bit to maybe even having like a for their Plus. Well, you worked for them, so this will be interesting. Apparently, like some of their Plus members, they're looking at doing, like, with your points, a system like where, you know, you guys could bring a game home for 3 or 4 days, try it out, bring it back.
I don't think that'll work.
They're thinking about doing it to increase their Plus membership and all that, and I thought that was kind of cool, but I don't know if it'll be enough.
Well, they've already branched out with a sister company, or I don't know if that's a correct term, but it's basically a memorabilia collectible type store. It's called ThinkGeek.
Yeah, like sell that kind of stuff, like that Skyrim, like collector stuff that you had and all that.
Yeah, well,
or like the Mortal Kombat bookends.
Not necessarily that, because that's kind of like the bookend things. That was like a Warner Brothers thing. But like, if you wanted to get a statue of Batman or a Power Rangers helmet that you could wear, all the way down to like lanyards and shit. That's kind of what ThinkGeek is. It's just a collectible and trinket type store. It's kind of like it's in a way like Hot Topic or Spencer's, but pop culture fandom themed, if that makes any sense.
So less goth than Hot Topic, less dildos than Spencer's.
Yeah, more superheroes, more science fiction type stuff. It's an awesome store, but it is pricey as fuck, man.
I've seen their website. Looks like they got some pretty cool stuff, but we don't have one around here.
Yeah, they just opened. I want to say it was last year. They opened up a store in the mall near my house.
Oh, nice.
It is amazing, but you can go broke pretty quick in there.
Yeah, I could have gone broke in that store that you were on me and Paige to whenever we were down there.
Second and Charles.
I could have gone broke in there.
Yeah, that's another one that's like, I do not need to go in here with my wallet.
Yeah, like I literally walked in there and like as soon as I stepped through the door, I made like a mental number in my head that I was willing to spend. It's just like, you do not cross that number, and then I crossed that number by like $50.
Yeah, I mean it's a smart move to even have it in your head, because if you just go in there with let's see what they have, you'll end up with how did this happen?
Yeah,
it's one of those moments it's one of those moments you check your balance on your bank account and you're scared to see what it shows.
Yeah, like I crossed that mental number that I put. I was just like, wait, and the only way I was able to justify it to myself in my head, I was just like, okay, you don't have this back home, and it's like 4 hours away.
That's true.
I was like, so
and they don't
get
even
it while
have,
you're here.
Yeah, they don't even have a website that you can order from. I did some of my Christmas shopping from Second and Charles, and I was like, I'll just go online and order it because I hate going out. And yeah, they have a website, but you can't order their shit. You actually have to go there.
Yeah, I know. I looked because being 4 hours away, I was like, man, if I could actually buy shit from them online, that would be awesome. So I looked and nope. And there is nothing even approaching that here. There's some places that kind of try to do that, but they don't do it like that.
I think they're owned by Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, one of those. But I think it's an amazing concept. If no one's ever been to Second and Charles, at least look at their website. I mean, dude, how would you describe it? I mean, it has everything. It's kind of like ThinkGeek, like how we describe that, but bigger, much bigger.
Books, movies, T-shirts, video games,
music equipment.
Video games from music equipment, comics. Man, oh my god, that selection of comic books, don't even get me started, because one of the things that I haven't really had the funds to really get kickstarted, but I really want to, is a really good deep collection of at least what DC's been doing in like the past 20 years. Because they just rebooted again, which I'm like, god damn it, because I already started reading some of the series that they rebooted from, and now they got new ones.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was just looking at that wall of stuff. I was like, if I had stupid money, I could have literally dropped like thousands of dollars on that wall. I've been like, okay, I just want you to put that bookcase on a flatbed, and I'm going with it. Take out the duplicates and set it on a flatbed.
Yeah,
it's
an amazing concept, and I think that if it is successful in the locations that they do have stores, that it will inevitably spread.
And it seemed pretty successful. There were a lot of people in there.
There was, when we went in for Christmas shopping, it was packed.
I mean, that would be an amazing place. I wish we had that here for Christmas shopping, actually, because there's stuff you. Okay, of course some of the DVDs are pre-owned and stuff like that, but there's stuff you don't just find sitting on the shelf at Best Buy all over the place there.
I got all my UFC Blu-rays from there.
Yeah, like when I go into like Best Buy or anywhere to get UFC stuff now, it's really only like the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and you're also paying like $40.
Yeah, and then when we went there, it's like, $8.
Yeah.
Classic, amazing fight.
I think the most expensive Blu-ray I bought, UFC related, was maybe about $7 or $8.
Yeah, so that place, I hope. Oh man, if we get one here, that'd be awesome.
No, it wouldn't. You'd go broke, man.
Yeah, good point, but I'd be entertained.
Well, that's for damn sure. All right, well, what are you doing for Christmas?
I don't really know yet. I know I don't work, And that's about it. You know, probably the usual, just visit with family, eat way too much delicious food, hopefully a delicious Christmas ham.
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 All right. Got a little weird there.
You really hammed that up.
Shut up. Shut your fucking face. Well, are you ready to close out this episode and close out this year?
I suppose. Yeah.
I suppose. All right.
Do we have anything else? I mean,
I don't think so. I mean, I was going to bring up that police shooting, but I really don't want to be depressed, so I skipped it.
Yep.
And everyone knows about it by now anyway.
Yeah.
We don't need to give our same obvious opinion that it's fucked up. But
I don't think I actually know about it, but
look it up on your own, because I actually it's very depressing. Just just look up they actually have a video of it, and I'll send you the link.
Okay, yeah, because I don't want to end on a super depressing note.
It is very depressing, but good things are happening, especially come January. Like we said earlier, we are launching our own media host and website along with iTunes and Google Play. Just keep tabs on our Facebook page and our Twitter, which, John, have you been keeping up with our Twitter?
We have a Twitter.
Fuck your face. Anyway, just keep tabs on our pages, and we'll let you know when that goes live. And also, Ask Anything questions. You can keep those coming in. We'll keep those until we do come back with, what is it? It'll be episode 19 when we come back. And anyway, you can send those into our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/theoryofanythingpodcast. Our Twitter is @ToA podcast. And we also have an email if you're still one of those people that send emails, which is theoryofanythingpodcast@gmail.com. Anything else at all, Jonathan?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys after the holidays. We hope you all have fun and are safe and eat lots of food.
Yeah, I mean, don't overcook the turkey in the turkey fryer. Don't burn down your house. That's a sad Christmas.
Indeed. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys soon. Later.
Send Christmas nudes.
Fucking asshole.